Stretching approximately 5 meters long and 1.5 meters high, the McHenry County College GeoScene is a unique outdoor pedagogical tool that immerses students within several geologic subjects. It displays all three rock types, relative dating principles, folds, and faults. We'll first explore the GeoScene's sedimentary rocks. Fossiliferous limestone comes first, located on the top right side. This rock contains significant fossils, typically the remains of marine organisms such as corals and mollusks. Fossiliferous limestone forms in warm, shallow marine environments that contain biological material such as shells and skeletal fragments. Compaction and cementation transform these remains into solid rock. The fossils vary in size from microscopic to large, visible specimens. Sandstone, the layer immediately beneath the fossiliferous limestone, is a rock composed mainly of sand-sized mineral particles and rock fragments. It often forms in environments containing large amounts of sand, such as beaches, deserts, and riverbeds. Compaction and cementation transform this material into solid rock. Beneath the sandstone lies a bed of limestone. This rock is primarily composed of calcium carbonate, which is a chemical compound containing calcium, carbon, and oxygen. The mineral calcite forms from calcium carbonate, and thus this limestone is primarily composed of the mineral calcite. Similar to fossiliferous limestone, this rock forms in warm, shallow marine waters through the accumulation of shell, coral, and algal debris. The last sedimentary rock is red sandstone. Similar to the sandstone layer above, this rock bed is composed mainly of sand-sized mineral particles and rock fragments. Its red hue is due to the presence of iron oxide, which is a chemical compound containing iron and oxygen, and commonly recognized as rust. The mineral hematite forms from iron oxide. Geologists thus recognize that this bed of rock likely formed in an environment with significant quantities of hematite. The center bottom rock is granite. It's the GeoScene's only igneous rock. Granite is a coarse-grained, intrusive igneous rock. The geologic term for coarse-grained is phaneritic. Phaneritic rock textures occur when minerals crystallize slowly, thus growing large enough to see without the aid of a magnifying lens. The term intrusive means that magma penetrated existing rocks, crystallized and solidified, and thus formed an underground intrusion. Here we see the granite intruding into existing beds of sandstone, limestone, and red sandstone. Heat and pressure from an igneous intrusion often transforms existing rocks in a process called contact metamorphism. The GeoScene's three metamorphic rocks are examples. The white quartzite formed from metamorphosed sandstone, the white marble formed from metamorphosed limestone, and the red quartzite formed from metamorphosed red sandstone. Notice that both the white and red quartzite formed from sandstones. Silica sand is primarily composed of crushed quartz crystals. Thus, the name quartzite hints at its protolith, or parent rock. The white marble, by contrast, formed when contact metamorphism transformed the adjacent limestone. Thus, limestone is the protolith, or parent rock, of white marble. In addition to rock types, the GeoScene displays several relative dating principles. For example, the principle of superposition states that in sedimentary rock layers, a layer formed after the one below it, but before the one above it. Examining the GeoScene with this principle in mind, geologists determine that the limestone bed formed after the red sandstone bed, but before the sandstone bed. Another relative dating principle on display is the principle of cross-cutting relationships. This principle states that faults and intrusions formed after the rocks they cut through or disturb. The geoscene's two faults illustrate this principle. They must have formed after the sandstone, limestone, and red sandstone beds already existed. The geoscene also displays two types of rock folds, commonly seen in mountain building processes due to compressional stress. On the left side, we see a fold that looks like an arch. The geologic term for this kind of formation is anticline. Note that the arch has a hinge and that the limbs of the arch dip away from it. On the right side, we see a fold that looks like a trough. The geologic term for this kind of formation is syncline. Note that the trough has a hinge and that the limbs of the trough dip towards it. The geoscene also displays a normal and reverse fault. Understanding the difference between the two requires us to first comprehend a footwall and a hanging wall. These are two terms derived from the mining industry. A footwall refers to the block of rock that lies beneath a fault plane and is the rock that a miner might stand upon. A hanging wall refers to the block of rock that lies above the fault plane and is the rock from which a miner might hang a lantern. Imagine a mining shaft on the geoscene's left side. Notice that one rock block is beneath the fault plane. This is where a miner would stand. Notice that the other rock block is above the fault plane. This is where a miner might hang a lantern. Now ask the following question. What did the hanging wall do relative to the footwall? Notice that the hanging wall's sandstone, limestone, and red sandstone beds all moved down relative to the footwall. Tensional stress causes a hanging wall to move down relative to a footwall, thus creating a normal fault. Now imagine a mining shaft on the geoscene's right side. Again, notice that one rock block is beneath the fault plane and another is above the fault plane. Recall that the rock block above the fault plane is the hanging wall. Again, ask the following question. What did the hanging wall do relative to the footwall? Notice that the hanging wall's sandstone, limestone, and red sandstone beds all moved up relative to the footwall. Compressional stress causes a hanging wall to move up relative to a footwall, thus creating a reverse fault. The pedagogical tools embedded within the geoscene are just one way to appreciate the outdoor structure. It also stands as a testament to the artisanal skills of masons, as well as complementing the architectural and landscape design considerations.